Hello, good evening and welcome. This is, of course, the 13 Pro Am Community Rugby League Show. My name's Dave Parkinson. Delighted to have you alongside me for the ride again. Over the next hour, we're going to be talking National Conference League. We'll be taking a look at Northwest Men's League, Yorkshire Men's League. I look forward to what should be an intriguing weekend of fixtures, including cup finals, both sides of the Pennines, and with what's going on in Cumbria. We'll also be touching base with everything else that's happening in the world of Community Rugby League. But yet again, I'm flying solo, so do bear with me if I come up with the odd error or things get through the whole process of the editing. We are hoping to be back up to full strength in a couple of weeks, but in the meantime, let us crack on and let us start with National Conference League fixtures and results from last week. So all the action got underway on Friday evening. In Division 1, Crossfields hosted Pilkington Rex, and this proved to be a really decent win for Crossfields, winning 26 points to 12 against relegation-haunted Pilkington Rex. Danny Cassidy scoring a try, other tries from Walker, Brown, Whitaker and Fox for the home side, Cassidy kicking 3 goals for Pilks. They had scores from Morris and Key, Kieran Napper and O'Connell kicking goals there. At half-time it was 10 points to 6, but ultimately that's another disappointing defeat for Pilkington Rex, their 10th of the season, and it keeps them well within the bottom 3 of the competition. And what that win as well does for Crossfields, it moves them crucially 3 points clear with a game in hand of Pilkington Rex as well. So a decent old fist of a game that for Crossfields. On Saturday it was the turn of the Premier Division, and Hunslet Amateurs, they had a fantastic win, 48 points to 0 against Thatto Heath Crusaders, scoring tries from Al Rawe, McClelland, who got a hat-trick, and Tyler Dargan, who also got a hat-trick. Dearden also scoring, Jordan Gale kicking 7 goals, Jamie Field still doing the business on the park after returning from retirement. It was a short-lived retirement for Jamie, and he kicked a goal. It was 28 points to 0 at half-time there to Hunslet Amateurs, and they just went on and completed a professional-looking job. Now, for Loch Lane, they've been a little bit up and down in recent weeks, but again they cling to the coattails of the top 6 in the Premier Division, courtesy of a late 20 points to 19 defeat of Hull Dockers. So the hero there was Hare, who scored a try and kicked 4 goals. Other tries going the way for Loch Lane through Newbold and Sowerby. They led 12 points to 6 at half-time. Hull Dockers, however, they did fight back. They scored a couple of tries through Grasby and Sharif, with Dan Sudderby kicking 3 goals and kicking what he thought was a really important drop goal before those late heroics from the boot from Hare. Rochdale Mayfield, they've been having a little bit of a sticky patch over recent weeks. I think they've won 2 and lost 2 of their last 4 games. Well, they bounced back to winning ways with a home performance against Elite Miners Rangers, winning 44 points to 22. Tyler, Metcalf, Parr, Ogden, McVeigh, Wright and Foden and English scoring their tries. Jordan Parr kicking 6 goals for Miners. They were well served by Kenyon, who grabbed a try, Connor, who grabbed 2, Parks scoring the other try, with Pilkington kicking 3 goals. But they had to go some, to be honest, Lee Miners Rangers. They already faced a 28 points to 10 half-time deficit. And I think we can say that Rochdale Mayfield returning to form with a win that keeps them in 4th position. Up in Loughborough, they won Cumbrian Derby by 16 points to 2 against Kells. Kells actually led by 2 points to 0 at half-time, thanks to that penalty from Gameford. But Hornets, they had tries in the second half from Wetherell, McCartney and Walker Taylor, who also kicked 2 goals to win through in the end by 16 points to 2. Another side that's in the winning circle and continues to get impressive results is West Hull. They have now scored 501 points in their 15 matches. The only team that's scoring at a better rate than them is Hunslet Amateurs, who have scored 519. But for West Hull, they scored tries through Elliot Jones, who scored twice, Wood, who scored 2, Wilson scoring a try and also kicking 3 goals. Kieran Welburn also chipping in with a goal as well. So that was their 28 points. They played against Siddle. Siddle scoring a try through Turner. Goals by Blackburn. It was all to play for at half-time, but in the second half, West Hull proving way too strong. The loss leaves Siddle at fourth bottom of the Premier Division. They have got a vastly superior point difference to Hull Dockers, who sit just beneath them, but they share the same number of points. They're in a battle at the moment, Siddle, and they need to find a way to turn it round. Another team that is really battling their way forward at the moment is Wigan St Pat, struggling at times for numbers this season. They actually led by 12 points to 10 at half-time against York Acorn, thanks to tries from Zammit and Taylor, 2 goals from Thomas. But York Acorn, in the end, they proved too strong. Woodall, Matt Chilton, Conroy and Myers, their try scorers. Anthony Chilton kicking 3 goals, so they were able to offset that half-time deficit and run home with the points with York Acorn. It's a win that keeps York Acorn in 5th position, just ahead of Thatto Heath Crusaders. They've got a vastly superior point difference of 66 points as well, but the two of those sides locked on 14 points in the league. Into Division 1, and there was an exciting clash between Clockface Miners and Alton Raiders. Alton Raiders proving to be the draw specialists, if you like, of the National Conference League. Of their 13 games, they've actually drawn 3 now, won 6 and lost 4. This was another game that was tight as a drum. Miners scoring tries through Leyden, Taylor, Gerrity and Lewis, who grabbed 2. Leyden also scored 2. Highcott kicking 3 goals. Alton Raiders, they responded with tries themselves through Wiggins, Kendall, who grabbed a hat-trick, Hagan and Colbridge, with Walpole kicking 3 goals. And that was tight throughout. It was 20 points all at half-time. It finished the Clockface Miners 30, Alton Raiders 30. In a clash between the top 2 in the competition in Division 1, Heworth hosted West Bowling. A great crowd turned up to Heworth for this one. Sounded like an absolutely cracking first half, particularly for the visitors West Bowling, who scored all of their 22 points. So Taylor grabbed a couple of tries. Darville and Scully also scored 4-pointers, with goals split between Williams, who added 2, and Coe, who added 1. There was a second half fight back from Heworth, who claimed tries in the end through Elliott and Allen kicking a goal, but ultimately that wasn't enough to overturn West Bowling, who have now made it 13 win from 14 games in Division 1. At the moment, they're cantering towards that title. Heworth, they're within a leading pack that also now consists of Egremont Rangers, who they're level with, Skirler, who are just 2 points behind, Alton Raiders, who are just 3 points behind. And talking of Skirler, I don't think they were in action this week, so interesting to see that as well. A team that was in action was Stanningley. Egremont Rangers were the visitors, and Egremont have been running into a real run of form over the last few weeks. This seems to coincide with the fact that they've now got Christian Tyson alongside John Paul Brocklebank, who has returned in the halfbacks, and for me that's really getting them around the park. So Stanningley, they scored tries through Ruan, Sykes and Flanagan. Selby kicking 2 goals. That was all their 16 points. They led by 16 points to 14 at half time over Egremont, but then Egremont saw a superb second half that had tries from Tyson, Brocklebank, who completed his hat-trick, Aaron Turnbull, who scored 2, and Adam Glenn, who scored a try. Tyson kicking 6 goals in the end, and Egremont Rangers successful by 40 points to 16 on the road. There was also a big win on the road for Ince Rosebridge. Their form has been, well, pretty mixed, to be honest, over the course of the season, but they picked up their 5th win in 13 games, winning 36 points to 10 at Thornhill Trojans. The Trojans scoring tries through Warne and Gledhill, Gibson kicking a goal. The Bridge, though, they had tries through Malone, who grabbed 2, Morrison, Halcroft, who's grabbed 2. Jay Halcroft also scored, with Robbie Valentine kicking 5 goals, Cunningham kicking 1. It was 14-6 at half-time there to Ince Rosebridge, and they went and carried it forward. So into Division 2, Dewsbury Celtic came up with a solid win as well at home to East Leeds. Copley, the real hero there with a hat-trick and 3 goals. Bottomley was the other try scorer. Waring kicked the other goals. They accounted for East Leeds by 24 points to nil. It was only 6-0 at half-time, so an excellent second half there from Dewsbury Celtic. A result that keeps them locked in 5th position within the league, but they have played a couple of games more than teams around them. Elsewhere in the division, Dewsbury Moor Maroons held out to defeat Saddleworth Rangers by 28 points to 20. The Maroons had tries from Clarkson, Adamson, who scored 2, Berry, Scrutton and Adams, with Innocent only successful with 2 goals. The Rangers, they fought back with tries from Morgan, Charles, who grabbed 2, and Lees, with Whitehead kicking 2 goals. But ultimately, well, they trailed by 14 points to 10 at half-time and couldn't get an important win that would help move them away from the relegation area. So currently they are second bottom with just 3 wins from their 13 games. Milford 16, Woolston Rovers 24 was an important away victory for Woolston Rovers, who've been a little bit hit and miss over recent weeks, but certainly bounced back to claim that win in what was tricky circumstances, to be honest. Best, Tham and Walker scoring the tries for Milford, Best also adding 2 goals. Meanwhile for Woolston Rovers, there were tries from Whiteley, Pendlebury, Craven and Palin, Leonard kicking 4 goals. They actually led by 18 points to 4 at half-time, did Woolston Rovers, but just ended up hanging on in the end. There was a really important win for Normanton Knights, who it would be fair to say haven't had the best of seasons so far this year, but they were able to pick up their 5th win of the campaign at home in the Boneyard against the Short Cross Sharks, winning by 35 points to 20. The Knights, they had tries from A. Biscombe, S. Biscombe, Barker, Joe, Crossland, Wilson and Thompson. Jacob Crossland added 5 goals and a drop goal as well. And in response, the Sharks, they had tries from Wright, who grabbed 2, Akadare and West, with Tomlinson kicking 2 goals. At half-time there, 23 points to 10. Normanton Knights getting the job done in the second half. Now really, the job was done in the first half for league leaders Waterhead Warriors, who haven't managed to get out on the field a lot over the past 3 or 4 weeks, but they made up for it against Myton Warriors at the weekend, eventually winning by 90 points to 8. So tries for Waterhead Warriors: 2 from Bridge, 2 from Hamilton, 2 from Taylor, 2 from Young, 2 from Perks, 2 from Brennan, 2 from Dickinson and 2 from Burns. Pemberton was the odd one out. He couldn't claim his brace. Goal split between Dean, who added 8, Hamilton, who added 3. Myton Warriors did offer some respite and some response in the second half, scoring tries of their own through Offen and Pierce, but after trailing 52-0 at the break, it became a huge result against Myton Warriors. A huge result as far as the division goes could, by all accounts, have happened at Wigan St Jude's. They held out to defeat Barrow Island by 20 points to 12. An important win this for Wigan St Jude's, who for the first time in a few years can start looking up at the teams above them and thinking, we've got a chance of playoff rugby league if we can get a bit of consistency over the next couple of months. So McNally grabbed 2, Larvin scored a try as well for St Jude's. The experienced Danny Fallon adding 4 goals. And for Barrow Island, it was Sanderson and Stockdale with the tries, Jackson with 2 goals. Island did well to get up off the ground. They were 12 points to 0 at half-time, but ultimately Wigan St Jude's getting the job done. Now into Division 3, Beverley also back to winning ways as well, defeating a hard to beat Eastmoor Dragons by 27 points to 12. It was nothing at all between these two sides at half-time, 12 points each. Beverley ultimately, though, scoring tries through Miller, Hutchinson with 2, L. Poskett, and goal split between J. Poskett, who kicked 2, Watkins, who kicked 3, and L. Poskett added the all-important drop goal 2. For the Dragons, well, R. Nicholson and Upson scored tries, with goal split between Johnson and D. Nicholson, but unfortunately for Eastmoor Dragons, it wasn't to be, and Beverley collected their 6th win of the season to just keep them on the fringes of the playoff positions. Tell you one game that could also have huge implications on the final table, and it took place Ellenborough Rangers saw Ellenborough 20, Lee East 18. Now at half-time, Lee East led by 12 points to 4. Ball and Appleby with first half tries for Lee East, both goaled by Adam Holland. The Rangers responded themselves and they got on top in the second half, scoring a couple of tries through Alstrom, Gillespie and Taylor. Owen Hoyles, the impressive standoff, adding 2 goals for Ellenborough Rangers. All Lee East could muster in reply in a close, tight second half was a further try from Clark, and Holland completing his 3rd goal. Up at Hensingham, they gave their all, but ultimately found Bentley too difficult to deal with. Bentley hanging on for a 26 points to 16 defeat of Hensingham. Hensingham scoring tries through McGarry, Rothery and Kellett. Dalton kicking 2 goals. While for Bentley, Jay Craswell scored 2 tries and kicked 3 goals. Craswell, he scored a hat-trick and was ultimately the hero of that 26 points to 16 win. Only Bentley's 4th win of the season. Well done to them for getting that result on the road. Now there's one game that we haven't mentioned yet that took place up at Millom, and I was in attendance alongside the Our League cameras, and we went up to Millom on Saturday where viewers, locals and travelling supporters were treated to an excellent game of rugby league that just kept ahead of the wet weather that swept in just after full time. Oldham St Anne's form has seen them climb into pole position in Division 3, and with their expansive approach, it's easy to see why they're having such a successful campaign. Things started brightly, with both sides testing the other out. St Anne's had the first chance, but Richard Pogson saw his pass drift forward. Then 3 minutes in, Millom had a scrum and gave new recruit Jose Somaka the ball, and a rampaging run saw him beat 3 players over 75 metres for a spectacular introduction to rugby league for the former Leicester Tiger and Tongan Rugby Union international. Lee Postlethwaite added the first of 5 goals and the hosts were 6-0 up. St Anne's responded on the back of some outstanding work from Sam Aykroyd and strike centre Jack Etchells when Callum Fletcher darted over for a score 3 minutes later, and Pogson struck the conversion to level matters at 6 points each. A quality contest saw the teams go toe-to-toe, with Jack Connor and Kyle Saunders working well for the visitors, while Cian McPherson, Dom O'Brien and player assistant coach Brad Crellin stood up for the hosts. St Anne's missed a couple of chances with wide passes and link-ups not quite going right, and some subtle play in the middle from Crellin brought a running chance for McPherson, and he stormed through from 20 metres in the 28th minute. Halfback Jack Newbegin landed a superb 40-20 for Millom 6 minutes later, and St Anne's winger Connor Rose kicked the ball away in frustration. This was judged to be a delay of the game, and he was promptly sin-binned. With seconds remaining in the first half, Crellin came up with an ad-libbed offload through his legs and Ethan Kelly touched down at the side of the post. Postlethwaite added his 3rd goal to open up an 18-6 advantage at half-time. Gotta say as well, that offload from Crellin was something special. If that was an NRL match or in Super League, we'd be talking about forever and a day. It was really, really good. Well done to Crellin for that little bit of skill. And that, as I've said there, a little bit of ad-lib play. There wasn't a lot on, and he picked out that pass with Ethan Kelly touching down. Now at the start of the second half, St Anne's efforts were renewed, and Callum Cashin, the top scorer, was just tackled in the corner by Jackson Evans with assistance from Amanaki Saumaki. Pogson kicked a 40-20 for St Anne's in the 47th minute, and in almost exact same circumstances as Rose in the first half, Neil Harris from Millom was sin-binned for delaying the restart. Almost immediately, the visitors took the ball close through James Shaw before Fletcher burst through from dummy half for his 2nd try of the game and 10th of a productive season. Pogson goal to close the deficit to 6 points, and although Millom continued to probe, they weren't making as much ground due to some excellent defence, but they finally got the breakthrough when quick passes right from Crellin and O'Brien saw Amanaki Saumaki burst through and step inside Kieran McGinnity on a 40-minute run in the 63rd minute. Postlethwaite goal to open up a 12-point lead for the hosts. Then with 5 minutes remaining, Miller went upfield again, but McPherson received high contact from James Barron, and the steady Postlethwaite, who gave his halfbacks Newbegin and Jonathan Hodgson great support, completed his 5-goal haul to ensure a 26-12 lead. At this stage, a comeback looked unlikely, but St Anne's did get the final try 2 minutes later when Barron and McGinnity moved the ball wide and Rose, now playing in the centre, pierced the line. Pogson couldn't add the goal and Millom completed their win. It's a win that keeps Millom in 4th position, but basically closes the top 4 up something chronic. So you've got Oldham St Anne's, 10 wins, 3 losses in 13 games, out on top, just ahead on point difference from Ellenborough Rangers, 10 wins and 3 losses from their 13 games. Then tucked in just behind them is Lee East with 10 wins and 4 losses from 14 games, and Millom tucked in just behind, 2 games in hand on Lee East, 4 points behind, 8 wins, 4 losses, and a decent point difference as well. It's all hotting up in Division 3, and I can't wait to see how that eventuates, to be fair. Now, the fixtures this coming week all kicks off on Friday. So in Division 1, there's a clash between Ince Rosebridge and Crossfields. I'm going to see if I can get myself along to that one, I think, after work on Friday. Then on Saturday in the Premier Division, big matches wherever you look. Hull Dockers host Wathbrow Hornets. Hunslet Amateurs are at home to Rochdale Mayfield. That looks like a huge game when you look at where those two are on the table. Hunslet Amateurs currently with a 4-point advantage over Rochdale Mayfield in the table, but that again could be closed and there could be some ructions, shall we say, in the coming weeks. Kells host West Hull. That's an important game for West Hull to look forward to. Meanwhile, there's a real relegation 4-pointer here as Leigh Miners Rangers host Wigan at St Patrick's. Siddle host Thatto Heath Crusaders. York Acorn have what looks like an attractive game, to be fair, against Loch Lane over there in York. So that sounds like it's going to be a cracking afternoon of entertainment in the Premier Division. In Division 1, we've got Egremont Rangers mounting a real challenge now to get themselves promoted. They're hosting Clockface Miners. Ulton Raiders, they host bottom place Thornhill Trojans. Pilkington Rex, they're at home against an on-form Heworth. Skirler, they're back in action against Stanningley. As we keep saying with Division 1, unfortunately, there's no Featherstone Lions in there. They have withdrawn from the National Conference. So the way that it stands at the moment is 2 sides will get relegated from Division 1, and occupying those places at the moment are Thornhill Trojans, 1 draw, 13 losses, and Pilkington Rex, as we mentioned before, 3 losses, a draw, and 10 defeats. Into Division 2, Barrow Island host Waterhead Warriors in an attractive looking fixture. East Leeds are at home against Shawcross Sharks. Bit of an intriguing one there as well from my point of view. Myton Warriors, they host Dewsbury Moor Maroons. Meanwhile, an improving Milford, they'll head over to Normanton Knights. Wigan St Jude's, they're away at relegation threatened Saddleworth Rangers. Woolston Rovers at home to Dewsbury Celtic. And then Division 3, that sees Bentley host Beverley. Eastmoor Dragons host Ellenborough Rangers. That'll be an interesting one. I'll be looking out for the result of that one. Hensingham are at home to Millom in a local derby of sorts. Lee East have a home tie against bottom of the table Seaton Rangers, and Oldham St Anne's really do have a chance against Driglington, but Driglington have been known to come up with a result or two, and to be fair, their point difference isn't that bad. They've only played the 11 games so far this season as well, so perhaps they could launch their bid to get higher up the table. That's your National Conference League scoreboard and fixtures, and now it's time for us to look into Cumbria and see what's happening there. So let's check up on things in the Holman Eagleson Premier Division. All these games took place on Friday, and again it sounds like we've had a couple of absolute crackerjacks here. So Maryport were leading by 19 points to 6 at half time against Glasson Rangers. That looked like it was going to be a straightforward result from Maryport given that half time score, right, eh? How wrong can you be? In the end, it finished Glasson Rangers 24, Maryport 25. Glasson, they had tries from Greg Rathall, Connor Wilson, Shane Williams and John Dollikin. with Luke Johnson adding 4 goals. And for Maryport, it was Danny Fiddler, Luke Baker, Ellis Nixon and Carl Steele who found themselves on the scoreboard. Conversions went the way of Blake Miller, he kicked 4, and also that important drop goal. And our correspondent up there, the referee Rob Jones, he just simply commented, "This was a brilliant game." Now at Wathbrow, they were hosting Dissington, and at half-time it was 20 points to 16 in favour of Wathbrow. Ultimately, they also got the job done in the second half as well, eventually winning by 35 points to 28. Now, I have to say, they had a brilliant start to the game, did Wathbrow, scoring 4 of the first 5 tries. Scoring on 3 minutes, it was Brad White. Then Dissington hit back with a try from Phil Lister that was converted by Scott Rook. Wathbrow, well, they got another try through Daly Stables. That was converted by Jensen Alstrom. And then in the 25th minute, they scored again. Greg Dawson this time getting over the line. Jensen Alstrom kicking the goal to make it 16 points to 6. And then on 29 minutes, Leighton Dockeray went over to make it 20 points to 6. As we started to head towards half-time, however, Dissington started to stir. They had a try from Jack Worthington, and then right on the stroke of half-time, a try on conversion from Scott Rook made it 20 points to 16 at the break. Just after half-time, Jensen Alstrom scored an unconverted try to make it 24-16. Wathbrow then increased their advantage out to 30 points to 16 thanks to a try from Mark Miller, and got a further try in front as well through Luke Spivey. Devon Sharp added a drop goal just after the hour mark. You're thinking, job done and dusted, 35-16 in favour of Wathbrow A. But back came the visitors, Dissington. Tyrone Dalton going over 11 minutes from the end. And there was, I suppose, quite a bit of consternation in the last 10 minutes as tries from Matt Hewer and Nicky Cook closed the deficit further. But in the end, Wathbrow A winning by 35 points to 28. A bit of an altogether more straightforward victory for Kells. They were away at Ellenborough. They eventually won by 32 points to 4. It was 16 points to 4 at half-time. Jamie Jennings scoring the first try for Kells after 12 minutes. That was converted by Martin O'Neill. Then Ellenborough struck back with a try from the brilliantly named Ace Wedgwood. Unfortunately, that went unconverted. And just 4 minutes after that, Martin O'Neill slipped through for a try of his own for Kells to make it 10 points to 4. And then just before half-time, Kieran Halcrow, he grabbed a try. That was converted by Martin O'Neill, 16 points to 4 in favour of Kells A at half-time. Then into the second half, Kells scored their first try in the second half 7 minutes in through Nathan Clark. That was also converted by Martin O'Neill. But then they had to wait until the 73rd minute when Jamie Jennings crossed for his second effort. Nathan Clark then doubled up his efforts as well. 5 minutes from the end, Martin O'Neill landing his 4th goal and completing that 32 points to 4 result as far as Kells A were concerned. So, our fixtures this coming weekend in the Holman, Eagles and Cumberland League. That features Hensingham A up against Glasson Rangers, Egremont Rangers hosting Lauca. And then on Saturday in the Fur Press Printers Cumberland Cup semi-finals, it's Cockermouth Titans set to host Maryport, Wathbrow Hornets A at home to Dissington. So we could be in for another classic game like what we saw last weekend in the Cumberland League. And again, just running you through a couple of results that we have from the Barrow Amateur Rugby League. Last Tuesday in the Harry Warman Cup, Barrow Island 24, Walney Central 36. Unfortunately, both the fixtures that were due to take place between Millom and Walney Central and Ulverston and Dalton were called off. Fixtures this coming week, well, it's the Harry Warman Handicap Cup semi-finals, and they feature Walney Central against Dalton, Ulverston against Millom, so should be interesting there. Right, before we touch upon what's happening in the Yorkshire Men's and the Northwest Men's League, I want to take you through the regional leagues. So the Forth Valley Vikings, they've sealed Scotland's League Leaders Shield at the expense of Edinburgh Eagles. Now they won by 66 points to 8 against Glasgow. And it's Glasgow who'll travel to Edinburgh on Saturday for the right to meet the Vikings in the grand final to be held on July the 22nd at Grangemouth Rugby Union Club. Now, Glasgow went in front through Ross Moyer, but were then limited thereafter to a Rob Mitchell try. Forth Valley, by contrast, they had hat-tricks from Sam Herron and Andrew Aguiarco, with Mark Murray bagging a brace and Ryan Butterworth, Lee Kearney, Cole Ronald, Dale Ashworth all dotting down. Ewan Edmund, he landed 9 goals. So congratulations to the Forth Valley Vikings on finishing top of the Scottish competition by virtue of that 66 points to 8 win against Glasgow. Some other scores to tell you about. In the Merit League East of England, Canvey Knights 36, Eastern Rhinos a 16. And then in the London Premier Division, we have Medway Dragons 24, London Chargers a 0. In the East of England Premier Division, North Hearts Crusaders a 0, Hemel Stags 24, Bedford Tigers a 27, St Albans Centurions 22. And then from the Midlands Premier Division, Birmingham Bulldogs 24, Oxford Cavaliers 0, Telford Raiders 34, Leamington Royals 18. And then from the Merit League in the Midlands, Worcester Rebels 26, Staffordshire Quantums 24, and unfortunately no result between Sherwood Wolfhunt A and Boston Buccaneers. In the North Wales Men's League, unfortunately no result between the Flintshire Falcons and Wrexham Crusaders, but we do have a result between Conway Celts, who ran in 44 points, and the Clwyd Cobras, who claimed 28. In South Wales, well, they've been able to complete most of their fixtures so far this season. So the Cynham Valley Cavaliers 42, Torvin Tigers 22, Aberavon Fighting Irish 28, South Wales Jets 36, Rhondda Outlaws 28, Bridgend Blue Bulls 24. And your fixtures looking ahead to this coming weekend. In the London Premier Division, games set to take place involve Elmbridge Eagles at home to London Scholars A. London Chargers A are set to host West Warriors A. Medway Dragons are due to take on the Brixton Bulls. In the East of England Premier Division, Anglian Vipers are taking on North Hearts Crusaders A. Bedford Tigers A are at home to Kemmel Stags. And in the Merit League, it's Brentwood Eels A hosting Invicta Panthers. Canvey Knights also due to play against the Invicta Panthers. Not sure how that's going to work. I'm not sure whether that's a mistake in what's been printed, but we'll have a look at what gets sent through on results next week, shall we? Then in the Midlands Premier Division, Leamington Royals are set to host the Birmingham Bulldogs. I've already mentioned what's going on in Scotland. There's a playoff between the Edinburgh Eagles and Glasgow, and that's going to decide who ends up playing in the grand final against the Forth Valley Vikings. In the Southern Conference, well, we've got Brentwood Eels 22, Eastern Rhinos 10, Bristol Allgolds 10, London Chargers 36. Fixtures set to take place this weekend in the Southern Conference. Bristol Allgolds against Eastern Rhinos, Bedford Tigers against the Brentwood Eels, Hammersmith Hills Hoists are set to host West Warriors, and London Chargers, they're set to play against North Hearts Crusaders. We've almost got through all of the results. Let's have a look at what's happened in the Northwest Men's League, starting first of all with the results from the Premier Division last weekend. Some big results as well. So an important victory for Latchford Albion, who accounted for Heysham Atoms by 20 points to 10 over there at Vicky Park. Excellent win that for Latchford Albion. They've struggled for victories so far this season, so that could yet prove a really important one as far as their campaign is concerned. Orrell St James, well, they had a comfortable victory at home against Blackbrook, winning by 44 points to 0. And the Ashton Bears as well, they also had a great home win against Hurstfinch, winning by 34 points to 4. And again, if I switch action over to Division 1, Wigan Springview 26, Chorley Panthers 26. Sounds like an absolute classic over there from Wigan Springview. West Horton Lions 26, Folly Lane 12. Thatto Heath Crusaders a 30, Salford City Roosters 20. And then we have Dalton 26, Ulverston 14. Bit of a local derby there, and a good win for Dalton. And then Cadishead Rhinos 18, Wigan St Cuthbert's 4. Another excellent result there as far as that game is concerned as well. Into Division 2, Woolston Rovers A16, Ashton Burrs A21. A classic game from the sound of it, that one. Walney Central 12, Golden Parkside 22. Roos Pioneers 10, Rochdale Mayfield A18. And Highpool Tigers, well, Newton Storm were way too good for them over there in Highpool, winning by 52 points to 8. Excellent win there for Newton Storm. And if we look at Division 3, so in Division 3, Langworthy Reds 24, Crossfields A32, Waterhead Warriors A24, Higginshaw 14. Those were the only two results from that division. And Division 4, well, that saw Culcheth Eagles successful against Wigan Springview A by 56 points to 6. There was also a victory 24-0 awarded to Bank-Key Bulls by Preston and South Ribble Rabbitohs. And Runcorn, well, they've certainly been amongst the points this season. They've continued their excellent home form, defeating Bolton by 68 points to 6. So that's your results of the games that took place within the league. I forgot to mention the Alliance division though, and just the one result from that as well. Wigan St Jude's A6, Oldham St Anne's A58. Good result that one there for Oldham St Anne's A side. Now, there is some fixtures this week, so as you're listening to this very podcast, Clockface Chargers A side up against West Bank Bears. And then this coming Saturday, I really want to let people know about this. You'll be able to tune in on our league. Some guy called Dave Parkinson is hosting the action and commentating on not one, not two, but 3 Northwest men's finals. So all these games are being played at Blackbrook. If you want to get yourself along, by all means do so. The Alliance Cup final, that kicks off proceedings. It's Ince Rosebridge A taking on Thatto Heath Crusaders A. That's an 11 o'clock start. Then following the completion of that, the trophy final is on at 1 p.m. Bank-Key Bulls against Higginshaw in that one. And then it's the cup final to culminate the day, and to finish it off, it's Ashton Burrs taking on Halton Farmouth Hornets at 3. Should be 3 cracking matches again, all at Blackbrook. Get yourself along if you can. And if I also look at what's happening over on the other side of the Pennines, so I'll just run you through the results that I have. And last week in the Hull division, it was Cottingham Tigers 12, Myton Warriors 22. That was last Monday evening. Then on Friday in the Hull division, it was Hull Lockers 24, Cottingham Tigers 34. And Saturday in the Premier Division, Almonry Spartans 22, Doncaster Tolbart 28, Newson Panthers 14, Fryston Warriors 36, Siddle Academy 0, Westgate Common 24. No results in Division 1 other than Keighley Albion 24, Ossett Trinity Tigers 6. Then in Division 2, Bradford Dudley Hill 24, Farnley Falcons 0. The Kirkburton Cougars against Greetland All-Rounders was called off. Odsel Sedberg 0, Mould Green 24. In Division 3, Methley Warriors 18, Garforth Tigers 12, Sherburn Bears 10, Seacroft Sharks 40. And then in Division 4A, Scarborough Pirates 24, Harrogate Hawks 0. And then it was Westgate Common A 50, Goole Vikings 10. Results from Division 4B, well, that saw Birkinshaw Blue Dogs 34, West Craven Warriors 14, and then King Cross Park Academy 30, Todmorden 18. In Division 4C, there was Dearne Valley Bulldogs 16, Dodworth Miners 48, Derby Elks 24, Hemsworth Dragons 0, and then other action from the Hull division from last weekend, Myton Warriors 8, West Hull 16, Skirler Bulls 20, East Hull 20. That sounds like a crackerjack of a game, that. Always like a draw. Could never understand why they've got rid of him at Super League and NRL level. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a draw. In the NCL East, we've got Heworth 24, Lock Lane 0, Ulton Raiders 12, Hunslet Amateurs 31, York Acon 30, Normanton Knights 14. In the National Conference League West, East Leeds against Milford was called off, unfortunately. Dewsbury Moor 6, West Bowling Academy 36, Southworth Rangers 28, Stanningley 12. So I mentioned what was happening on the west side of the Pennines over at Blackbrook with the Alliance Cup final, the Trophy final and the Cup final. A reminder just of those fixtures again for those. Intros Bridge A against Thatto Heath Crusaders A in the Alliance Cup final. In the Trophy final, Banky Bulls against Higginshaw. And in the Cup final, Ashton Burrs against Halton Farmouth Hornets. So that's the action on the west side of the Pennines. Over on the east side of the Pennines, tell you what, we've got some cracking finals in prospect as well. 4 games take place over at the Millennium Stadium, Post Office Road to me and you over at Featherstone, and it all kicks off at 11 a.m. The NCL Alliance Cup final, Hunslet Amateurs are due to play against Normanton Knights. Then in the Shield final, action gets underway in that one at 1 p.m. East Hull are up against the Bramley Buffaloes. The trophy final gets underway at 3 p.m. Bradford Dudley Hill against Greetland All-Rounders. And then the Cup final, well, that's up at 5 o'clock and it features Newson Panthers and Keighley Albion. Get yourself over to the Millennium Stadium as well. If you're over on the east side of the Pennines, you're not going to be disappointed at all with the action that you're going to see. As I say, I'm really looking forward to hosting the action from the Northwest Men's Cup Finals Day. The Yorkshire Men's Cup Finals Day is also going to be on our league at the same time. So if you're watching from home, you could even hover between the two competitions. I tell you what, it's a great day for rugby league, isn't it? Saturday, absolutely tremendous. And if you're also thinking, hey, hang on, I can get out to a game maybe, there's some crackers to look forward to. So in the Premier Division of the Yorkshire Men's League, you've got Westgate Common up against Doncaster Tollbar, King Cross Park hosting Fryston Warriors. In Division 1, Charleston Rovers are due to take on Hull Wyke. In Division 2, Wibsey Warriors are set to host Odsal Sedberg, while Division 3, that sees Birstall Victoria go up against Garforth Tigers. And Division 4A, we've got York St John Barbarians up against Westgate Common A. Absolutely cracking action to look forward to. And with also currently happening the Student Four Nations, well, that's going to be exciting as well. That all comes to a culmination on Saturday as well over the course of this Wednesday afternoon. And at the time you're listening to this podcast, well, England are playing against Scotland, Ireland are playing against Wales, and then on Saturday, Ireland are against Scotland, England are against Wales for the final of the final games of the competition, I should say. Well done to the England students on them getting away to a 46-0 scoreline against the Ireland students, and I look forward to giving you a more full roundup of what's happened over the course of the competition next week. Now, there is also some international rugby league that's taking part a little bit closer to home on the west side of the Pennines. All action getting underway at Victoria Park Arena in Warrington when the England Community Lions under-17s host their French counterparts. It's a 2-match series. I think I've already mentioned this. So 2-match series. The first of these games happens on Saturday the 15th of July. Kickoff for that one is 11 a.m. And then if you can make it, the following Wednesday the 19th of July, there is a 6 o'clock kickoff. Same venue, same opponents. Victoria Park Arena, Warrington. England Community Lions under-17s taking on France under-17s. That's another set of fixtures that I'm hoping to give you an update about in the next couple of weeks. As ever, thank you for joining me. But for now, this is Dave Parkinson signing off. Remember, go and get some rugby league in you. You'll never ever regret it. Plenty to look forward to over the course of the weekend. If I haven't mentioned your club you feel that I should be doing, drop me a message over on Twitter, Dave Parkinson RL. But for now, I'm signing out. Enjoy your rugby league.